that you found on both of their cellular records around this time?
Yes, ma'am, there's a text message sent right here.
And who was that text message from, and who was it to?
It was from Jason Chen to Jasmine Pace.
At 4:03 p.m., based on your review of the T-Mobile and the Verizon records, Mr. Chen texted Jasmine, "Hey, are we still good for dinner tonight?"
That's correct.
T-Mobile records. Approaching you with one piece of paper. If you could review that and tell me if you've seen it before.
Yes, ma'am.
Where is this document from?
It's from the phone forensic.
The
It's the forensic download of Mr.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Hamilton. I've asked you already, but were you able to review the forensic download from Jason Chen's phone?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you go through items on that phone?
I did.
Did it include this item?
It did.
And can you describe for the jury? They're going to see it, but it's in a different format. What format is that?
That's Celebrate. That's the tool that we use to download and to process the data coming out. So this is a Celebrate screenshot of one page on it.
Your Honor, I'd ask that this be admitted as the state's next exhibit. Mr. Hamilton, on the screen behind you, is this what you're looking at?
Yes.
And
Yes,
does Celebrate note the time that the text was sent?
it does right here, 16:03 TC minus 5, which would be 4:03 p.m. Chattanooga time.
Okay, and at the below it says body. Is that the body of the? Is that the text message?
Yes.
Okay.
It is, and this is who it's to. And then you infer this is Jason Chen's cell phone, so the from, they don't populate it there, but it's from him to her. And that's, hey, are we still good for dinner tonight?
All right, and in your review of the discovery in this case, did you come across another piece of evidence that corroborates both the location data and the cell phone, the text message
Yes, ma'am.
from the forensic download?
There, I did.
Showing Exhibit 121 to the witness. Now, you can see this text message on the screenshot, but can you explain again why this says Wednesday at 3:03 p.m. and this one would indicate 4:03 p.m. in Eastern Standard Time?
Yes, ma'am. The reason is that screenshot was taken later and the phone was up in Nolensville and it was on Central Time. So the time, they automatically adjust to what time zone you're in as you're driving across the country. So the screenshot itself was taken up there, so it adjusted the times to Central in that phone. But we know it was forensically, the phone does everything in UTC time, so these reports coming off of Celebrate are accurate, and the records coming off of the provider are in UTC generally. So that describes that discrepancy just because of where the phone was when the screenshot was made of the message.
Are you able to tell the jury, so you testified, we're going back, you testified that at this time, approximately 3:50 something, that both of their phones showed back up in downtown Chattanooga, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to tell the jury if Miss Pace's phone had been on immediately before that, or is this the first time you see it back on?
No, it had been on for a little while.
Okay.
His was off and hers was on, and it was driving around the city.
Is it fair to say hers was coming off and on
Yes.
for the first part of the day on 11/23?
It was. It went dark, and then it reappeared and rode around, and his was off.
And to be clear with what you testified to a moment ago, Nolensville, Tennessee is on Central Standard Time, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And Chattanooga is Eastern Standard Time?
It is.
Okay.
And
Or-
the forensic tools tell you what time zone it's set to, and it was, I guess it was recovered in Nolensville and secured. It was actually processed down here, but it was still in Central Time when the report was made, but the report is always in UTC time, and so I have to go in the report tools and adjust it to what time zone I want, so that we don't have to do a bunch of math.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
After this, did Mr. Chen go back to Suck Creek
He did.
immediately after?
I don't think so. Well, he travels, it's not on that picture, but he kind of travels across the bridge and over that way. But
He goes from downtown, would it have been back to the North Shore, you're saying?
yes, ma'am, it was just a few minutes off.
And did he travel back to the Suck Creek area?
He did.
Okay. What are we seeing in this photo?
So that is that same road we saw, just zoomed in a little more at Suck Creek. And so that's the body location up at the top, and that's him coming down that road again.
Would this be the second time on 11/23 that he's in the Suck Creek Road area?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, does he then go back to the area of 110 Tremont?
I think he went to, yes, he goes to Tremont.
Do you recall what time that was?
Not off the top of my head.
It's okay, these records are complex. Feel free to
Yeah,
look at your
sorry, I
notes.
didn't memorize them. It's 5:08 p.m. is when I see him.
Do these records reflect what you just testified to?
I do, and something to point out, see how this group gets a little bit north of him? I would, from long experience and having to locate, especially missing people by their phone, those dots all belong down here. They're just on that arc, and the inaccuracy of the pivot. I don't believe he was moving because it'll jump in seconds, and there's no physical way to do that. So these belong down here just in my professional opinion. He's in there, he's not driving around.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you recall when, how long Mr. Chen is here in the area of Tremont after 5:08 p.m.?
It was 50 minutes, I think.
Okay, and did Mr. Chen's phone begin to leave the area of Tremont around 6 p.m.?
It did.
Okay. In the course of your reviewing the discovery in this case, have you seen this video?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna, this is State's Exhibit 129. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger on the next slide for the jury. You reviewed this video, sir?
I did.
Is the time connected to this video approximately 5:59 p.m.?
Yes, ma'am.
And then is there another video, Mr. Hamilton, in which you can see what appears to be Mr. Chen's vehicle leaving Tremont Street?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that just a couple of minutes later?
It is.
Is this a screenshot from that video?
Yes, ma'am. That's a still screenshot of it.
Did you place that arrow on this?
I did, just to point out where the vehicle's at to start out in the video.
And Your Honor, that would still be Exhibit 129. It's from the same video. Do Mr. Chen's phone records corroborate him leaving Tremont at almost exactly this time?
They do.
Can you describe for the jury what we see here on the screen?
So that is the start